like, there's a 95-5 rule, meaning like 95% of people at any or companies at any given time who you want to sell to are not really in the market. They're not like looking for a new solution. The 5% are. So, you might, based on various signals, predict their intent, So, a stupid one would be like, hey, they posted an RFPs, and it's, oh, that's pretty good intent. So,
Mhm.
like it's basically it's some kind of predictive modeling, probabilistically trying to determine that lead, prospect, whatever is, more valuable or more ready to go. They have higher intent, or they've done certain things that imply stronger intent.
Excellent. Yeah. So that is a full 5 CMO whisperer level answer, Peter. Well done.
The harder answer to all these questions is how to do it, right? Like, I'm glad I know what to do, but to do these well, I have to say, is very hard.
Hello, and welcome to the Misadventures in Marketing podcast presented by the American Marketing Association, San Francisco chapter. I'm Steve Haney, a fractional go-to-market executive in Silicon Valley.
I am Peter Farago, a marketing executive in Silicon Valley, also focusing on startups. Each week, Steve and I come together to talk about all things marketing in the world of high tech.
Our own experiences running marketing teams with a special focus on technology startups, our successes, our failures, what worked and what didn't. And every once in a while, we invite our CMO friends and other marketing executives onto the show. And hopefully we'll be able to impart some wisdom along the way. My tech news bit of the week is OpenAI closing down Sora, which is their video generation service. Also, I think it's interesting the fact that Disney was going to put in a $1 billion investment into Sora and license its characters so you could make videos of Mickey Mouse and Donald Duck engaging in all kinds of hijinks. That deal is obviously off. And I think what's relevant about this, and I referenced it or will be referencing it when we get into the main segment, is that, I think what they've realized at OpenAI with this onslaught, this onslaught of Claude co-work, particularly on Macs, but it's happening on Windows machines too, that people really want AI to help them be more productive so they can head out on a weekend and party and enjoy their families and friends. That's really what people want. People don't necessarily want to generate videos of Disney characters because just as a standalone business, it doesn't work. Now, the reason Google can make VO work is because they have something that OpenAI doesn't, and that is they have a productivity suite called Google Workspace. And people putting together a deck or even a document, they may want to drop a video in there of, say, a sunset with 3 people on motorcycles riding into the sunset. And you have that video and it looks great and it drops right into your Google Slides deck. That can work for Google. It can't work for OpenAI. And I just think this is Sora shutting down is, I think, a huge ramification of where does OpenAI go? They've got a chat bot and they're huge and they're definitely the Kleenex or the Xerox of the category. But without other applications and platforms to apply these services against, I think they're in an incredibly tough spot. And I know I've said this to many before, but I think at the end of the day, they're going to get slacked. And just like Slack had to sell itself because Microsoft slaughtered them with Teams, I think OpenAI is, unless they can figure out something very soon, they're going to have to find a home someplace. Okay, Peter, what do you think is the big tech news story of the week?
Well, I think a good one is that allegedly Claude is working on, or Anthropic is testing an AI model that's a step change in performance better. This was sort of leaked because I think there was an internal, uh, there was an internal like communication. It's called Claude Mythos, and it's apparently supposed to be way better. And it just goes to show that we're still not done with all the rapid improvement we've seen over the last, I don't know, 2 years. One thing that I've consistently heard, and maybe for the reason I'm saying this is maybe people are like, oh yeah, they're always improving. But one thing I've heard is that the rate of improvement and change in this technology has been something that really high level researchers like UC Berkeley professor who's running the research lab at UC Berkeley engineering has never seen in his career. Like the rapid continuous improvement is like disorienting. And so it's crazy to hear that Anthropic believes it has something that is a quote step change in improvement coming. It's just we live in fascinating times, and the treadmill keeps getting faster.
Yeah. How I AI'd this week, I don't have any specific examples that I could talk about, but I dived very deeply into Claude Cowork, put together a few projects. These guys are iterating so fast. It's breathtaking. And so now they don't have folders, they have projects, and you drop all your local files in there. And then, like I said, I turned off all the guardrails, which I would not recommend, but I'm a crazy person. And I just told Claude to go do things, and it did them with local files on my Mac. And pretty amazing stuff. So, that's me.
Okay, the tip I have, what you and I actually had lunch and with our friend Raj, who uh is an engineer by training and a senior product leader, and is very, very deep into playing around with AI in terms of automating things, not just using it the way most of us use it, which is uh, uh, kind of as a personal sounding board and to help us organize our thoughts and maybe make nice reports or edit things, right? That's how most of us are using it. And if you use it well, that's actually a pretty good high level use of it. But we're getting into an automation thing. So one thing that really was exciting, and this is because it's a need I have at my company, lots of companies, but most technical companies have a documentation site. Documentation site is usually made up of the combination of release notes and instructions on how to use various parts of a product, often a very expansive product or suite of products that a company offers. In my world, they're technical in nature. The documentation is all very technical to how to integrate this, how to integrate that. And he has a way of automating uh, and I'll tell you after this specific example, the higher level takeaway for me. He has an automated system using AI that will listen to release notes from engineering and be able to read the tickets out of a Jira or a Linear, right? If you know about these ticketing systems that engineering teams use, that's sort of the how they keep track of all the work and the progress and who picks up what chunk of work at any given time. But that's a source. It's an important data source, and it will automatically generate the part of the documentation and update it on the site, all kind of in real time. You know what I mean? So the um, the thing I'm getting at is, and what I've been trying to think about is, how do we move from just using this as a great sounding board to actually automating steps that we need to do that are super valuable, like keeping your documentation site always up to date with the latest and the most accurate information, and which is a complex task that was usually done by lots of people and tedious, and you're always out of date and it's lagging. And for my kind of company who has an engineering customer, it is super important. It's super important for SEO. It's unbelievably important in the buyer's journey that they're able to like put the website aside and just go to the documentation site and look at what it really does, right? So I I just think that it's a new era, or it's a new level of mastery that I'm excited about. I'm honestly not sure how to use it and invoke it. My CEO, I've mentioned many times, who's this is maybe yet another example of automation at the next level uh, of workflows using AI. Is We're seriously thinking about not using Webflow anymore and using a combination of Claude and like a headless CMS. This is more like he knows how to do this. But then also still make it usable by marketing folks, having a front end of sorts. But basically automating all that so that we are no longer using a CMS. We sort of like can spin up pages on the fly anytime we want, and it's going to be in our look and feel, and it's still going to have all the metadata and other stuff, and you can still post blogs and all that. So, we're getting to a stage where you can really move unbelievably fast, or almost keep up to date in real time. But you got to think about these workflows. The other thing I'll just say to everybody is, the more of these you do, this is, we learned from our friend Raj, who will be on. We think the marketing audience will love him because he's talking about all these cool ways to automate that marketers can really leverage or learn from. But one thing he also did say is the more of these you do, it's just like managing software, the more you have to maintain. So it's not just making it happen. It's like keeping it up to date, keeping it running correctly. What if it goes down? What if it doesn't work? Now your website's built on this, you know what I mean? So you got to be careful. So reliability matters. So anyway.
So Peter, we've got a very special edition of Misadventures in Marketing this week. We are going to do our periodic meme game show, in which I make up a bunch of crap and you're put on the hot seat to answer it. And hopefully we have some fun and learning along the way. So this edition is going to be called the AI edition of the Mem Game Show. And I thought I would lay out the rules here. So I just want you to know that I spent many, 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 many minutes putting this together with Gemini, my trusty AI sidekick. And it was quite enthusiastic about what we were doing here. So it came up with a really nice framework here. It did call you a seasoned pro.
Oh
So
my.
Gemini, yes, Gemini recognizes you for what you truly are. And these
Gemini's
terms,
kissing up. It's kissing up. Sycophancy.
keep paying that subscription, please.
That's right. That's right.
Peter, the marketing pro.
That's right.
So some of these are acronyms, some of them are not. For each word, for the letter that you accurately identify, you're going to get a point. So for like a 3-word acronym, you're going to get 3 points. And then you have to go and you have to define it. And I get to score you on a scale from 1 to 5 on how well your definition is accurate. So 1 point for your definition is complete hallucination, and you're just guessing. 2 points is buzzword bingo. You use the right word, but you don't quite seem to understand the application of the tech. 3 points, the Wikipedia entry, technically correct, but a bit dry. 4 points, the practitioner, clear explanation with a real world B2B use case. And you will get 5 points defining these terms, the CMO whisperer level. You explain it so well that even a skeptical CFO would fund your marketing program. I'm going to lob you kind of a softball here. GEO. GEO.
Generative Engine Optimization.
That is
And it is.
correct. 3 points.
You want a definition? Off the top of my head,
What is generative engine optimization?
So similar to SEO, it is
Mhm.
a set of practices that help the LLMs have a better chance of surfacing your brand name and content and links. So specifically, there's some techniques around like more tables and more of a full FAQ, and putting it in maybe the places. So structural format stuff, maybe putting it in the places where they might. This is like hypothetical or like a hypothesis people don't know, but maybe making sure you're on Reddit because apparently LLMs vacuum up a lot of their information from there.
That is definitely a CMO whisperer level response. I'm gonna have to give you all 5 points because it's eerily close to what,
Mm.
ChatGPT gave me. The
Eh.
successor to SEO, GEO focuses on optimizing content so that it is cited and surfaced. See, you even used the word surfaced. It's very impressive, Peter. By AI engines like Gemini, Perplexity, or ChatGPT, rather than just ranking on a blue link results page. So well done, Peter
Nice.
Farago.
Nice.
Okay, so that's like you're at 8 points now. That's
All
incredible.
right.
All right. AEO. AEO.
So AEO is basically the same thing as GEO. It's just the A as it stands for a different letter. That's now it's of course it's escaping me. Um because sometimes people just call it GEO/AEO. Gosh, now I can't. I'm gonna have to lose points on the A because it's just escaping me at the moment. But the rest of the answer should be
Answer
the same.
answer
Yep.
engine optimization.
Yeah. It's just
Well,
like there
you
are.
got 2 of them, so we'll give you 2
Yeah,
points.
there's like a terminology standardization thing that people haven't settled on. We don't know if we call it GEO or AEO. I couldn't remember the A stood for answer, so I should not get points for that. But it is
Well,
the same, it is structuring your whatever, your information so that it has a better chance of being surfaced and cited. It's all
uh,
the same stuff.
okay, so you can take this up with the board of judges, but I'm giving you 2 points
Fair enough.
for
Yeah, I didn't know I
identifying the
couldn't
acronym
remember
and
I could
0
not remember the
points
A.
on the
Oh.
definition score.
Oh, is it a different definition then? Is it considered different?
Specifically tailoring content to provide concise, direct answers that AI assistants can scrape and read aloud or summarize for answers.
Yeah, I actually think I'm not trying to argue with the prestigious judges. I'm just saying that like I should lose points on the acronym because I didn't know what A is, but the definition, the use and all that is correct because it's basically the same as GEO.
Well,
Well, you decide.
yeah.
You're the
Yeah, well,
almighty.
no,
You're the almighty.
I
Yeah.
do. I mean, like I said, I
Ah,
mean, these are
ah.
the rules. So, okay, I'll give
Hey,
you 2
hey.
points because you're pleading. Okay. So, here we go. Next one. It is also an acronym. AIO. AIO.
Oh my gosh. Now I'm getting AIO. Well, I'm going to say A in the I or artificial intelligence. And I guess I'm just gonna say optimization. That's my guess.
So you'll get 2 points there.
Okay.
AI, artificial intelligence overviews.
Overviews. Okay, so now okay, let me attempt to answer it.
Uh-huh.
An AI overview, I believe, is the AI search answer well, when you search on Google, it is their I think of them as snippets or something, but it's at the top. So Gemini is embedded in search pages and it will give you an AI answer. So the AI overview answer is now up on near the top of the page and it's, shown alongside some of the organic search results. That's my guess.
That is correct,
Okay.
but I'm only gonna give you 4 points. The definition provided by Gemini is formerly known as SGE, Search Generative Experience. These are the synthesized summaries at the top of Google search. You've got that 100%. Marketers now track AIO share of voice instead of just keyword rankings. I have never heard until now. It makes sense of AIO share of voice. I would like to know, maybe some of our, all three of our listeners out there, one of them can tell us what tools help you track AIO share of voice. So this is not a acronym. LLM visibility.
LLM visibility. Oh,
This is a hard one.
yes.
I can't. I mean,
No,
if
no,
you
it's all
know
good. It's all
this,
good.
you just
Well,
you should be CMO of Google
I'm
because
gonna,
this
yeah,
one
whatever.
is.
I'm gonna guess a little bit of context here, but like I think it's similar to what we've been talking about. I believe it's how visible your company is. I think it's kind of a share of voice thing, and I think it's like how visible is your company, say, if someone searches on your category, like someone says, "Hey, give me the best CRMs." Or is like Salesforce or HubSpot. I'm sorry, yeah, Salesforce or HubSpot, for example. Cool, will you show up in those? So how visible are you when somebody does a query about something related to your company or property? That's my guess.
Hmm.
No? Hey, man, I said
Well,
it with
well, well, no, well,
confidence.
no. Tell me, because
Yeah.
right now I'm thinking of giving you 3 points on that one.
Okay.
Because
Okay. All
it
right. Okay.
but let me give you Gemini's definition, and then a metric used to track how often a brand or product is mentioned in the training data
Well, training data.
or real-time outputs of the major LLMs. So I don't know what real-time outputs is. I probably should know. Training data, I
No,
completely.
a real time output would be when somebody runs when inferences run. So basically, when someone asks a question, what is the out? This is my guess. What is the? It's kind of what I was trying to explain. Was what I was explaining. It's like the answers you get. That's the output, right? So if I said, "Hey, who are the leading CRMs?" That I should like check out. Uh, it would show that output. Now, I assume that in order to show that output, it would have to have shown up in the training data. Like that's where it's pulling from. So I don't know if that's actually a one-to-one thing. I don't know if there's like a real-time search or something else that happens, or if it's only relying solely on like existing training data. And maybe an AI expert will think what I just said is stupid, but that's kind of how I'm thinking about it. So my point is, I think you can't be in the output if you're not in the training data. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, I don't think that's a sign. Yeah, because it's LLM visibility. It's like, how visible is your stuff,
Oh, I
right?
see. Can the
So
LLM see it or not is sort of upstream, and whether or
yeah,
not
so I think
later
real-time
down.
outputs may be a more general term about what you're getting out there. But
Yeah,
I'm gonna give you the Wikipedia entry level score. Three
I'll take
points.
it. I'll take it, man.
Okay.
This is partial credit on a test, dude. This is how you get through
Yeah,
school.
no, listen, what is it? P for participation, whatever it is, you're doing great. This episode of Misadventures in Marketing is brought to you by the American Marketing Association, San Francisco. AMASF is a member-run organization that has been serving the Bay Area marketing community for over 80 years. Through programs, events, workshops, and discussions that introduce the latest trends and developments in the industry, to networking events that bring together the best marketing minds in the region, AMASF diligently works to foster professional learning and career advancement opportunities for all of its members. Joining is easy. To become a member of AMASF, go to amasf.org. That's amasf.org, and click on Get Involved on the top menu, then become a member. For just $199 a year, you'll get access to events, resources, credentialed learning opportunities, and a community of fellow marketers who will help you expand your network and advance your career. The AMASF membership, the investment you make for the career you love. Okay, let's move on to the next one. This one is not an acronym. Agentic AI. Agentic AI.
So I think of agentic AI as so when I think about an agent, it's something that can perform tasks perform tasks on behalf of the user. And there's, usually a sliding scale of like what permissions you allow it to do. I'm going to do this generally and then give you an example. So like, quote unquote guardrails or permissions, like you don't want to take action on your behalf. So for example, let's say you have an agent that is set up to, I don't know, let's take SDR as an example. So it goes and it can authenticate into, say, LinkedIn and some other stuff, and you want it to send out outbound emails to some prospects, and you have some list. You might say, yeah, I'm going to let you MCP. MCP is basically your API equivalent. You're going to give it the ability to sign into another system, go maybe ask either other AI or the system itself for said data, pull that data back, run its job, which is probably like, hey, generate a personalized email, and to be sent to this recipient. And what you might say is like, at that moment though, you're not allowed to send it. You have to like get my review. So that's where the human in the loop is.
Peter.
So that's
Peter.
my agentic thing. It's
Just
a workflow. Yeah.
spectacular. Spectacular.
Uh-huh.
That is a
Ah,
CMO whisperer
tell me
class
more.
answer. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you.
Good job. Okay, here's another acronym. HITL. HITL.
Whoa.
I will give you a hint. You used this term about 3 minutes ago.
HITL.
Mhm.
I'm gonna throw my hands up, Steve. I don't want to make the audience suffer while I sit here
Well,
stewing.
I've never heard it used as an acronym, but who knows what the kids out there these days are doing.
Okay.
Human in the loop.
Oh shit.
But
Yes.
you can
Okay.
define it, and I'm just sorry for effort. I'm going to give you 5 because I know you know what human
You
in the
saw the
loop
steam
is.
coming out of my ears.
Yeah, you've
Yeah.
already defined it. So,
Yeah, human in the loop, but like generically, human in the loop is where you set up a predetermined check by somebody. It's like a quality check or like a just an inspection to make sure things aren't going the wrong direction, or if like it's a moment of say output that gets reviewed. It's a review step that a human has to do because
mhm,
one of the things with AI is like, again, judgment is hard. Like there's just things humans are good at certain kinds of evaluation on the fly, and
right.
I'd say conversely extremely hard to program that in through umpteen rules of AI, to get it right in all the edge cases. So you just go like human in the loop. It's been around for a long time. Yeah, that
Yeah,
whole idea.
review at various points to ensure that it doesn't do anything stupid and bad.
Correctness. Yes.
Okay, no acronym.
No
Prompt
acronym.
prompt slop. Prompt
Well, I
slop.
I think that prompt. Okay, well, this is interesting. I'm thinking about
I'd never
this.
heard this before,
I
you
haven't
know.
either, but I'm gonna reason my way through this as best I can. So prompt engineering, of course, or not of course, but prompt engineering I think of as uh sort of the art and the craft of writing questions that you're asking your LLM in the best way to get the best answers back that you actually care about. So I would say like, if prompt engineering best practices are structuring your question with all the right context and telling the AI what role they should be playing in answering. You're an expert this, you're an expert lawyer, and on property law, and I'm trying to figure out if there was a breach of contract in the sale of this home to me, let's say, blah 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 blah, and then you give it, and here's some more information about it. The best practice is to give it everything you need to know. Slop, I think, is to ask a very general, incomplete question, which will lead to AI slop output. That's my guess.
You, sir, are correct. Congratulations. It sounds like AI slop. I mean, this is prompt slop. It says jargon for low quality, generic AI generated content that lacks human insight or original data.
Mm.
Slop is the 2026 version of spam. Okay, sure.
Okay.
All
Hey.
right.
Yeah.
Next term. And honestly, I would never be able to. I've kind of heard this term, but I didn't really know what it means. And so,
Mm.
context window,
Ah,
context window.
this one I think I know. I don't want to get I don't want to get too cocky, but a context window, colloquially or metaphorically, I think of it as kind of the RAM or the short-term memory any given chat will have when you're asking it a series of questions. And so the context window is how much information and relationally, uh, the LLM, like Claude, can keep track of all the stuff you're asking, because you tend to go, "Hey, I want to write this," or an example might be, "Hey, I want to write this report on this strategy," and then you go, "Oh, but I'm thinking about this other aspect of it." Then you ask it kind of a tangential related thing over here, and then you keep going, and before you know it, you've asked it 18 things, and Claude or GPT will give you 30-page answers, and so like it's using up all that memory. And so what happens over time is you blow the context window, and then the answers start to drift, and the LLM, what you'll see is that the LLM will sometimes slow down. Claude will just quit. uh, GPT will just keep going. It's like a trooper. It's got stamina, but then the answers will become more and more insane, or they'll be more like generalized. Like it'll start adding things. Oh, like I'll say, hey, it'll, for example, say, hey, like I'll say, I need a verbatim quote from a customer that proves whatever, whatever. And then it'll like start making up quotes. And I'll say, hey, I'll ask it to cite it. Hey, where did you see that quote? I'm not sure I saw exactly like that. And then it'll say, "Oh, I'm sorry, I made that up." You're like, "All right." So that means you're out, you've blown the context window.
So, like, wha first of all, excellent response. I don't understand how it can forget, though. Like, if you've attached let's say you've got all these white papers and you attach it in the chat, the white papers, how can it forget those? That they're sitting right there.
But yes, if you just keep adding a bunch of stuff, you're taxing the system in a sense. It cannot keep track of all that and the interrelationships of it. It has a quote unquote context window. It can only hold so much in its memory, if you will, at once. That's how I think about it.
This just seems the limits on these things, it drives me crazy, like, I was using Claude the other day, and it
But
basically
it's your
said
expectation though. Like it is
well, no, I want it
actually
to
like
be an all-knowing eye of
right.
Sauron,
But we also know like the incredible amount of compute power it takes just to do this. And so
Yeah.
like your expectation versus what it's already doing is, it might be mismatched, because it's doing a lot of great stuff. You do have to think about what it has, again, kind of recalled in its short-term memory and current context, as it were. You just can't like expect it to know everything and be accurate all the time. And even though it does a pretty good job of remembering stuff you might have even forgotten, it's not foolproof, right?
Yeah. I'm sitting here highly disappointed. Okay, next point. I'm sorry, next question. This is not an acronym, signal-based selling.
Oh, signal-based selling, that is interesting. Because we do this. So signal-based selling, I'll talk about, like, say, the difference between cold and warm outbound, for example. So
Mhm,
a signal first is like some indication of interest or intent, generally from the customer, from the prospect or the visitor to their website. And so like cold outbound, as one example practically would be like, I know my ICP, I go generate a list, I think about the best thing to say to people, I start sending out a sequence of emails. Signal based is like a behavioral trigger, like user visited the website, so now I know someone came to my website. And we've done this before with, retargeting. You can also set up, we use a system called Unify is a vendor, has a system, and they also will track, for example, interactions with LinkedIn posts, so social signal. We can also set up like it detects certain things that happen, like in our industry or many industries. It's like if the company is putting up a job posting, I need more of this kind of engineer, then oh, maybe they have a capacity problem. Maybe my automation solution could be good. Or in my world, like, oh, they had an outage, they had downtime. Oh, so it's basically based on an event or a happening or an interaction point with us. Then we now can trigger a certain email sequence to go out, and we're doing that based on signals. It's akin to lead scoring.
Very good. That's exactly what it is. Moving away from static lead lists to acting on real-time data, i.e. signals. For example, a target account just hired a new VP, or 5 people from the same
Oh yeah,
company just
you
visited your
hire. Yep.
pricing page. Yeah, yeah. So I'm gonna give you a 5 there because I think that was, an excellent answer. Okay. Um, Next one. I love this one. I had no idea that this was a term in AI marketing. Dark funnel. Dark funnel.
Dark funnel is this has been, I mean, it's kind of a cool term, I suppose, but this has been forever in marketing or business. It's things that the customer is, call it a prospect, someone who's not your customer, someone you're interested in. It's things that they're doing you can't see, in a nutshell. So like it's possible that they, I don't know, downloaded something using a different email. It's possible that something got forwarded to them internally, like a white paper you guys wrote, but you don't know that, right? It's possible they had a conversation with somebody offline and that was never logged. Or it just could be simply like, hey, they asked their friends, like key opinion leader or like word of mouth stuff about, hey, who should I look at? And someone mentioned you. It's like, it's all the things that would be part of a buyer's journey that are unknown to you for various reasons. And I think now the cool term is dark funnel.
Done. Excellent. You and Gemini are one and the same, like a Vulcan mind meld. Perfect. Next one, predictive intent scoring. Predictive
Pre-
event scoring.
Predictive intent scoring, right?
Intent.
Yeah. Hmm.
INTENT.
Okay. Okay. Intent. Predictive intent scoring. I mean, I don't know exactly that term, but I think I understand it.
Mhm.
It's kind of, the first term that comes to mind is predictive analytics or just probability. It's in the probability you're trying to figure out is the likelihood that this is either, say, an in-market, lead, like, there's a 95-5 rule, meaning like 95% of people at any or companies at any given time who you want to sell to are not really in market. They're not like looking for a new solution. The 5% are. So, you might, based on various signals, predict their intent, So, a stupid one would be like, hey, they posted an RFP. So it's, oh, that's pretty good intent. So,
Mhm.
like it's basically it's some kind of predictive modeling, probabilistically trying to determine that lead prospect, whatever is, more valuable or more ready to go. They have higher intent or they've done certain things that imply stronger intent.
Excellent. Yeah. So that is a full 5 CMO whisperer level answer, Peter. Well done.
The harder answer to all these questions is how to do it, right? Like, I'm glad I know what to do, but to do these well, I have to say is very hard. you have to have the systems and the understanding, and you have to do a lot of trial and error. It's very time consuming. So,
Yeah. Well, so the way they have it here is using AI models to rank accounts not just on fit, for example, size, industry, blah, 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 but rather on their propensity to buy right now based on historical patterns, which is what you said. Here's the next term. This is a great segue. Hyper personalization at scale. Hyper
oh,
personalization at scale. What is that AI marketing term, Peter Farago?
I mean, again, this is not a new concept. I guess there's a promise of AI being able to do it well, but it's what we used to call micro targeting. It's
Hmm.
just basically like, again,
Yeah,
you
this is
might,
actually more an execution type
yeah, the concept is the
term in the
same.
concept. Yeah, but
Yeah, the concept is the
the
same, which is instead of marketing to a group of people, a batch of people who share common characteristics and therefore we believe will respond well to certain offers
right,
and
when it's
language and
using Gen
whatever.
IA to do that, but what are those things it does? I'm trying to get you up to a 4 here because right now you're around a 3.
That's fine. I'm not done. Well, it's a language model, so it's usually tailoring emails, and it usually takes it scrapes a bunch of stuff like your LinkedIn profile or something about the company or whatever, and it tries to. But this is the problem with like AI SDR or AI like email sequencing is that this is why we still have human in the loop, HITL, because you get a bunch of slop. It's like, hey, this is really, I mean, again, a bigger concept is like on one end you have personalization, on the other end you have scale. And so how can we automate more one-to-one tailored micro targeted, say, messages and approaches? Can AI do that for us? And really it's around like the messaging, the text messaging, the email body copy. I
Mhm.
don't know. Like this is so Unify is a system I mentioned we use as well. And Unify is pretty good, but like we're especially for us, because we're targeting a smaller, higher end group, some more ABM really.
Mhm.
We don't want to spray and pray a bunch of stuff and turn on a machine that's supposed to hyper personalize at scale, but just does a terrible job, right? And this is the
Mhm.
problem is like, I'm sure this will get better and it'll feel more authentic, but there is a general rule that the more you personalize, if I just say like, instead of saying, hey there, I say, hey, Steve. Or if I say, hey, Steve, I'm sure at your company you have the following challenge. I say, hey, Steve, at the American Marketing Association San Francisco chapter, I'm sure you're worried about, and I named the challenge, and the challenge is right. But it's about resonating with you by actually being correct and, telling you what you actually are worried about. Well,
Mhm.
that's very hard to do at scale, but there it
Yeah.
is.
Well, yeah. So anyway, you got it. But it just this term, at least the way Jim and I chose to talk about it here, is in the execution, right? So hyper personalization at scale is, it assumes you already know everything about Peter, and it's serving him up dedicated, landing pages and putting together white papers for him and all that stuff, and just the actual execution of the content, et cetera, et cetera. All right, so 4 for Gryffindor for that response. Moving on, this one is an acronym, so a chance for 3 additional points. RAG, RAG, RAG. Never heard of this term.
Oh, well, well, RAG is pretty common. It's like, I think it's Retrieval-Augmented Generation,
Hey,
and it's just a method
well
of
done.
yeah. It's a method of like RAG is now relatively basic as a concept, but it is, going and retrieving certain information as it generates its answer. Basically, it's trying to get appropriate context so it gives you an answer that is useful.
Excellent. 5 points for, Griffin Peter. Well done. Okay, let me see. Next term, fine tuning. Fine tuning.
I don't know if it's technically machine learning or, or data engineering, but if you have a model, you have to train the model. And this is a model like, usually it's a machine learning model, but
Mhm,
basically like take, Google. This is very famous for a long time. Is Google was doing like image recognition, right?
mhm.
And image recognition is hard, because, there's a lot of pictures that it's hard to interpret what's there. Uh, and so it's a good example of like, a model that gets trained with an initial data set, and then you see the first round of output of like how it categorized images, let's say. And it might see a fire hydrant and think that's a building. I don't know. So it miscategorized it. So then the fine tuning is around weights in the model. And usually an engineer goes in by hand and tunes the weights of the model to, improve the output. So it's a
Right,
stay.
but
It's a
in the
it's tuning
context
param.
of
It's
marketing,
tuning parameters in a model to improve the output of the machine learning or AI model.
but for marketing, what is the context of that?
For fine tuning? Oh,
Yeah.
I'm
You
assuming that it's some
you're
kind of
already doing
last.
this all the time because when we
Yeah, it's
talk,
some
I
last
know you're
mile
doing this.
improvement. I assume it's
Yeah.
like fine tuning is some last mile improvement of whatever. I don't know.
To further define your specific brand voice,
Oh,
technical
brand voice. Okay.
documentation, and past winning sales emails, for example.
Okay. Got it.
I'll give you a 3. I mean, conceptually, you got it, but, in terms of what it means for a, marketing manager, um, I can only give you 3 on that one. Alright, another acronym. Again, I've never heard of this one. XAI. XAI, and it's not the AI company.
XAI.
Mhm.
Huh.
Three-letter acronym XAI.
I have no idea.
This is kind of a tough one. Explainable AI,
Oh,
explainable artificial intelligence. Do you wanna take a stab at, what this is for a B2B marketer?
explainable AI.
Mhm.
Well, I'm gonna take a guess. We talk a lot about our answers being grounded or cited or having
Mhm.
citations. And so it's the idea that you need to have transparency in the answers that you provide a user because a big problem with a lot of these answers is trust, right? So it's
Mhm.
like, so then you want to be able to verify. So we, for example, in all of our answers, we have links to a data source or a report or wherever it came from. So that's what I think it is. Is explainable is kind of like, showing your work and allowing the user to easily verify it by giving it links back to sources.
Okay. Well, I'll give you a 3 for that. It says it's a requirement in regulated B2B
I
industries
see.
like finance and healthcare, where the marketing team must be able to explain why an AI model made a specific recommendation or targeted a certain group.
Hmm.
There you go. All
Okay.
right, Peter, your last question out of 16 here. You've been doing great so far. Tokens. What are tokens?
Tokens are the unit of consumption by an AI model when it does inference, and and that token is usually a breaking down of data or information into smaller parts. And a token, for example, in a big textual body or a corpus of text would be like, small phrases, series of words, so it's breaking it down into these usable pieces, and they just call them tokens.
Mhm.
And usually you are also, from a consumption-based pricing standpoint, you are charged based on token usage. So it's a unit of data, if you will, and it's usually like, phrases, words,
Excellent.
sentences, that kind of
Yes.
thing. Yeah.
So you've said this, but I'll state it from our buddy Gemini. The currency of generative AI, since most enterprise AI is billed by the token, roughly 0.75 words. Marketing now have to manage token budgets similar to ad spend. Okay. You got, out of a possible 99 points, you got 79 points. You got a B minus.
B minus. B minus.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well done. Good job.
Yep.
All that education and Wharton MBA led up to this moment, Peter. And I'm proud to say you got a B minus.
Oh, yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah.
All right. Well, Peter, long show, great show. But I think it's time to read us out. We want to thank you, our audience, for listening. Our editors, Brian Douglas at Creative Comms and Lorenzo Fernandez Kopek at Peakbound Studio for making us sound and look great. Our marketing manager, Ian Robinson Lambert, for getting the word out. Our amazing Julianne Bernalis for being our consulting producer. And of course, the super heroic Renita Dada for driving our market research, our content calendar, our topics, and just the whole agenda here at Misadventures in Marketing. The Misadventures in Marketing podcast is presented by the American Marketing Association, San Francisco chapter. Build your network, learn something new, and have some fun. Learn more at www.amasf.org. Would also like to thank our sponsor, Workbox, for their support of Misadventures in Marketing.